fire!
Welcome to Talking Music. Today we have Walid Wolflust again, part 2. The reason for that is we talked for 4 hours last time. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough to get to half of what we had on the list. So, after our general vote, everyone's requesting a second part, and we need to give that part decent time. So here we are. Walid, welcome back to part 2.
Thanks, Rami. Thank you so much for having me here again.
So usually I ask, are you ready for a long talk? But you've proven that you are after 4 hours last time. So are you ready for a shortened one this time?
I'll do my best.
Okay, so today we're gonna dive into different topics. We're gonna go a bit about KAOTEON, talk about the releases, talk about the end of you being part of KAOTEON, and talk about the awards. We're going to talk about more about lyrics and how you write your lyrics, how you want to express yourself through words, poetry or not, melodic or not. Talk about Ordum, something that you were part of. You had one album release. We're going to go about some tracks you've been featured on, where you gave your voice to those tracks, cover or not cover. We will be talking finally about the novel you said you were writing. So we're curious to know about that. What is that about? Where is it going? And something you used to do long time ago called metalgy. So seems like, as far as I understood, something similar to what we do now, covering events, supporting bands, spreading the music, spreading the disease. And finally, we'll talk about what's coming next, what's coming for the future. What is your next plan, your next band, your next whatever, projects. Okay, so let's start with KAOTEON. And briefly go back to history, just a marking point. When did KAOTEON officially became a band, in your perspective?
In my perspective, I think the first time we were sitting in a little rehearsal space trying to write a very relaxed song for the anti-drugs competition, but we couldn't resist going full speed, and we ended up finalizing the structure of Decrepitude, and I think along with the lyrics as well. So I think that was the first time it felt like we're sitting together as a band, even if we were just two, but at least we're sitting there with the aim of writing music. The chemistry is aligned and it's there. And we started working towards something, basically.
Okay. Can you approximate time, like the year? 2002, 2001, more or less.
Probably 2000. Probably 2000, I think.
So yeah. I could assume that's like a marking start. So that's 21 years ago.
Jesus, yes, it is.
That's what I'm getting to.
Gotta have another drink. Thanks, man.
Go ahead. We're having arak again today, so cheers.
Cheers, everyone. صحة. كاسكن.
No lettuce was available. Sorry for this time. No lettuce was available. So your first recorded release as an EP would be Provenance of Hatred, right?
Yes, sir.
So
which we recorded around 9 days after leaving jail.
Okay. Was it somehow motivated by that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were sneaking around in a car trying to make sure the police are not following us so that we arrive to a rehearsal studio without having them waiting for us there.
Yeah.
And we were kids, man. So it was just a beautiful rush, you know. Going to a studio is still an amazing feeling. It absolutely is. But when you're 18 and you're going to a studio just briefly released from jail and the police are chasing you around and you're hiding in your car trying to make sure they're not following you to the middle of God knows where. We recorded somewhere in Brummana, but somewhere in like little corners and alleys of Brummana that we've never been to. With a guy that the drummer back then, Riyad Hajjar, knew, because I think he recorded La Magra, his previous band with John Bajos, Unison and Ordum. So that guy knew about a guy who was an audio engineer at a radio station, which due to the lack of any options, an audio engineer in a radio station is the guy you would trust most with recording a full band suddenly. So he did. Recorded. We had, I think we had a weekend. Yeah, from Friday evening till Sunday evening. That was the deal, to finish 3 songs, basically. Guitars, bass, drums, and vocals. So setting up and tuning the drums and calibrating the microphones took 2 days. So at the end, we had literally 21 minutes to record all the vocals. So what we did is including testing the mic, checking the volumes, and checking everything else. So what we did is we literally just told him at which parts we are recording right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go to minute X. We record the vocals. Okay, now go to minute X again, to another minute, just to speed up as fast as you can.
Serving the tracks as fast as possible with the passage, right where it should be, right?
Yeah.
And with like 1-2 takes, quick, on the go takes.
One take.
That's
it. One take. We didn't have time in 21 minutes to do more than one take.
Wow.
And I think Anthony did the guitars and the drums at home. The guitars and the bass at home, because we didn't have enough time to do them in the studio anymore. I'm not sure if the guitars also with the bass for sure. And we gave the outcome, or actually the engineer gave the outcome to Riyadh, who was leaving to France just a couple of hours after Anthony finished the recording. Took it with him to France, and that was it. Good luck. We had no means in early 2004, of accessing Riyadh except by email. So we would email him like, hey, where's our music? How's it going? And to trust a drummer in mixing an entire band, you kind of assume it's going to be a drum solo album.
You were worried about it. I see. that's
yeah. Me personally, I expected the worst. I expected just a lot of snare everywhere, and everything else is somewhere in the corner. But I remember Riyadh coming back, and he had the CD with him, gave it to us, put it in the car, and I was just smiling like an idiot.
So you were satisfied with what you got? You were happy with the results?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Especially for back then and what we had with us, it can't be done in any other way.
It's like learning how to do things, right? Just from the start.
With no money, no equipment, no experience, no guidance.
So 2 years later, you released a single, Love Died. What's it called? 2006?
You're trying to get me to say the nasty words, aren't you? Love Died in Your Cunt. That's the song name. Love Died in Your Cunt.
So I'm gonna start, poking a bit about lyrics. So why is it called so?
Yeah, it was a disagreement that I had to let out some steam through music. So it was a disagreement with a certain someone, and the only way I could express it is by writing that song.
But you did put an effort to present that disagreement and a recorded track with the release, right?
Actually, that song has quite a funny recording story. So,
please share.
In Lebanon, we don't have a lot of studios for recording anything that's not Middle Eastern, or at least back then. Now we have a few. Now we have, of course, Audio Loft, Kareem.
A bit more experienced people,
Bassem.
a bit more setup equipment for it at the moment.
Absolutely, Bassam, sorry. We have more experienced people from the domain. We have, of course, Grotesque Productions. I think they're also recording Jesus, butchering everything today. Basically, things changed since 2005, I think it was, or 2006. And Lebanon today has a bit more chance of recording metal music, rock music than it had back then. So back then, the only option I had was to get in touch with a very good friend of mine, JP Haddad Chimera. And I knew that he was already working and producing Chimera himself in his bedroom. So I asked him, could you record vocals for me for a song? So he said, sure, come over to my bedroom. actually. And we can record it there. So we did. And I'm standing in the middle of his bedroom in Sinelfil. Quite a busy neighborhood at probably 6 in the afternoon. And I just go full force, screaming as loud as I could. And I used to scream very loud, according to Roy Naufal,
Witnesses, many witnesses, yeah.
According to witnesses behind the mixer, I think I did over 100 decibel at a point in a concert, which explains why at a few KAOTEON shows, I didn't really need a microphone. So you get 100-something decibel screaming inside a bedroom in a very crowded part of Lebanon. And I just proposed to JP, like, why don't we check out what's happening from the balcony? Do you think the people are okay? He's like, yeah, I record here. It's okay. It's going to be all right. So we look out and the entire area is actually hanging out of the balconies trying to figure out what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, there's someone being murdered in the room.
Something like that. So we had to improvise with acoustics and isolation really quickly on budget. So the only thing we could do is JP actually pulled out his blanket off from his bed and covered me with it like a bizarre, very mad ghost.
Singing.
So I'm standing there. Yeah, the microphone stand is in front of me and I'm surrounded by blankets from every direction trying to minimize the noise of it. I finished that. Luckily, I was dressed in a suit because I used to work in a bank. Shittiest thing you can do in your life, by the way. So I managed to escape out of his house without anyone suspecting I'm the guy generating this kind of noise.
You know, but you were already close. You missed the chance to record it in the shower.
Yeah, but I think we worried about too much reverb in the shower. It wasn't that kind of black metal, no.
Okay, I see. So a few years later, you had another single, Anthem of the Dead. That's 2008. Again, what motivated you to get one single out at that time?
Anthem of the Dead was actually recorded and I think also officially released by us in 2006 because the 2006 July war, where the entire infrastructure of Lebanon was completely destroyed. All of South Lebanon was homeless, but Lebanon won. We won. That triggered the song, and Anthem of the Dead was about the song, which is also why I quoted a great Tunisian poet in the song. Is a شعب يوم أراد الحياة فلا بد أن يستجيب القدر.
Yeah. One of the first songs I've heard with some Arabic lyrics with some death metal, and at the time it was, oh, that's fresh. I like that.
Yeah, I remember that. That wasn't something really done much back then. I think maybe in Algeria or in Morocco, perhaps, because they had also some really old metal scene over there. But I'm not sure if throughout the rest of the world it has been much done before 2006. So it was quite an experience. It was also bizarre as hell to growl in Arabic. It's not a growling friendly language.
So how do you growl the letter ha? How can you growl it?
It's actually nice because it pushes you into overdrive. You know, if you're talking and you're quite passionate, ha is an evil one, but the trickiest is the r.
Really?
The R is very tricky, yeah, because have you ever noticed how in a lot of Egyptian Middle Eastern music, they go gha instead, gharami or gharami, or they make it super soft because it's a tricky motherfucker, the R. Or you do what I like to do most, which is you go full Irish, load up on Jameson or Writer's Tears, whichever choice of whiskey you have, and just roll it out. Both work really well.
That's something I didn't expect. So the R would be the most challenging letter.
Because you have to be super soft with the R, or you exaggerate the R. And the R in Arabic is not too exaggerated.
Yeah.
So I like to do that far more in English. It's quite a lot of fun. In Arabic, I haven't been doing that much.
What would you say are like the easy ones, like the growl letters or words?
My favorite word to warm up to is actually shawraba.
Shawarma?
Yes. Shawarma. It has all the
Really?
things you need in your life to
Soup.
warm it. Yeah.
Okay. Soup
I was
is...
drunk once and walking down the streets and I started screaming shawarma randomly at people. And then I realized, hold on, this actually works. This has all the different ups and downs that your throat kind of needs to cover, to warm up largely. So shawarma has been my go-to thing since probably 2005.
Interesting. Then now you have a... I think you have an idea for a food-inspired track.
It would be the soundtrack of my life, man.
Okay, that's interesting thing. After that track, so you said you corrected me. It's 2006, or right after the war that was released.
That's what I remember.
And then several years later, that's about 5 years later, 2011, came the album Veni Vidi Vomui, right?
Yes, sir.
So that would mean... Yeah, go ahead.
I do remember the coincidence of Anthem of the Dead because around the same time, in multiple speeches by Al-Hakim that doesn't have any certificates, but he's still a Hakim, he did use the Shabu Yaman Arad al-Hayat quite a lot. So we did receive some questions like,
politically,
is there a link or something?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So anyone quoting a famous poem becomes politically affiliated.
Of course, just like Hezbollah ruined Unadikum by Ahmad Kabur, and it fucking pisses me off because Ahmad Kabur is one of the fucking greatest leftist revolution, militia, resistance songwriters ever made. And Unadikum was about people in South Lebanon fighting against the Israeli occupation of Lebanon.
Yeah.
And the song was not about any militia, any organized militia. It was not about Hezbollah. It was way before they even left Iran. That song was about literally families in Lebanon shooting at an occupation from their bedroom windows. And now everyone thinks Unadikum, isn't this Nasheed the anthem of Hezbollah? Fuck no, they fucking stole it, and it pisses me off so fucking much.
False association. So that
yes,
happens.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess it's his song, so if he wants to correct that, maybe he can try. But I think it's too late, right? Once it's associated, that's difficult to change.
No, but what I love, what I love quite a lot is that he did join all the protests that are happening now. He went from city to city and he sang Unadikum now with the people in the middle of the squares. So I think this is a clear statement that he's not affiliated with them or with anyone else.
Have you tried to sing it like in your own way?
It's a dream, man. I tried doing a version of it with Karim Sinno, Audioloft, back in 2006.
Like
I think we
cover?
Also tried
like a serious cover, like rearranged or just like re-sang?
Rearranged and everything.
Oh, okay.
Karim was doing the arrangement. Also Ziad Alam, my brother. His dream is to do the drums one day on Unadikum.
Yeah. Where did it go? What happened?
I'm dying to do this, and I also want to do جاي مع الشعب المسكين.
Yeah, Ziad Rahbani.
Ziad
Nasheed al-Sawra.
And Nasheed al-Sawra, Ziad and Sami Hawat.
Yeah.
Speaking of Sami Hawat, Mishu, love you, man. So these two songs, if we have any guitar player on the stream now who shares the passion for these resistance songs, it's my dream, man, to do these. It's what I grew up listening to and what I still listen to every single day.
Cool. So I would love to hear covers of the classics, especially those with the special like influence on our history, on who we are, on how we identify with things, on how we think about who we are, our identity.
I agree.
The Levant identity, because someone's gonna say, "Oh, he's not a Lebanese guy." But anyway, so we are a people, right? And this song represents the people and their struggles. That's the point.
Yes.
So, yeah, I would love to somehow follow up and get some of those things done. I don't know how I can, get things going, but I'm interested to help if there is anything I can do.
I need a guitar player or a oud player. I can also, that could be interesting as well. Preferably someone who shares my vision about politics in Lebanon.
Mm. It can't be politically
And
neutral, huh? It cannot be
yeah,
politically neutral.
no. I was agnostic for a very long time, and today I think fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. You need to take a stand in everything.
Okay. I'm not gonna get into the side subjects. There's a lot of them, and I guess we talked a lot about politics last time. I'm gonna keep going with the KAOTEON forward. I mentioned Veni Vidi Vomwi 2011, and that was your first album release, right? That would be like the full
Yes.
album first release, which means I came, I saw, I vomited,
I
right?
vomited.
So surprisingly, it's not what everyone would expect. So you didn't conquer, you didn't win, you just vomited.
Yes, sir.
What did you want to say with the title?
It's a world of shit, basically. It's a world of shit. I think that's it. Quoting Morbid Angel.
So, and that is still in the tracks. That's part of the lyrics of the tracks. You're trying to say that it's not about expanding, conquering, being the strongest. It's just a bunch of shit. And
being
it's
the
dirty and it's
means,
ugly and it's yeah.
It is. Being the strongest means being the most compassionate and being caring and being nurturing, and it's why mothers are far stronger than fathers, in my humble opinion. I think that's strength. Conquering and whatever is no. Actually, if you look at the biggest conquerors in history, if you look at the Mongolian Empire and if you look at the Ottoman Empire, these two specifically, because let's be honest, the Ottoman Empire occupied massive part of the world for 500 years. What they did is they marched into every town and they burned all knowledge. They destroyed libraries, they destroyed schools. That is occupation.
They wanted to absorb the identity for you to lose your
that's
own
not strength.
and gain their identity.
Yes, that's not strength.
Yeah.
Strength is that gentleman in Syria, and I apologize very much for forgetting his name, who decided to be beheaded by the cunts, then to hand them over the location of the beautiful treasures that Palmyra and Syria has to offer. That guy is a strong guy, but a person who hides it behind a screen or a button is not fucking strong in any way or shape.
So he stood for his core beliefs, for his morals, and defended what must be defended no matter what.
For protecting culture and heritage and beauty. That is strength.
Well,
and that is the idea behind the album, is that we don't see a lot of this. Maybe you do see in the end what you focus on. Okay, sure. But if you look at the world around you, come on. It's a shit ton of starvation and pain and death, while most of the world is just standing watching. And you get rich cunts who complain that we all should take a trip to outer space to experience how it feels like. You should, Rami, you should. And when you go, invite me. Just tell me when you're going and I'll join you on a trip.
Yeah, well, the world is different perspectives, different people, different way of life.
For sure.
But the overall view is things are not as nice and pink and butterfly as they appear all the time, right? So there is all the mix of everything. And what you try to summarize in the album is that ugly side of things, right? That disgust in the nature of things. Okay.
But that's also the problem when you live in a place where that's majority of what you experience on a daily life. I mean,
yeah,
you know, Lebanon, what we experienced as children or as adults is not normal.
Yeah, so there are countries where you have more of the disgusting than of what's beautiful and nice, right? And we tend to
Precisely.
to be on the extreme side of that spectrum of ugly and disgusting and chaotic
Precisely.
and unfair.
For sure. Lebanese are very famous for still managing to find the beauty in between, but that's not a positive aspect anyone should be proud of. It's just too much.
If you want to select a favorite track, do you have a favorite track on the album? Like one that means to you a lot lyrically? Because I'm trying to focus on the lyrical side of things and the themes and the subjects of things.
It's a different question. I haven't thought about this in a very long time, because this album actually, the three songs that were the building pillars of KAOTEON and of this album were Decrepitude, Provenance of Hatred, and Wrenched, which were the first demo, the EP from 2004. And I composed the lyrics, I think I was 16, 17 when I started working on some of them. So
how do you judge those lyrics now if you read them?
sometimes I giggle. Sometimes I pull an ostrich move and I hide my head in the sand.
Okay.
But all in all, I like them. I learned quite a lot, of course, from starting there. And when you start with this, you just start. You don't have a school that you go to that teaches you how to write lyrics. That school is basically music. So you try to understand how others do it, and to compare and to learn and to move forward. But I think my favorite song on that album is the last track. That's also Ziad's favorite song. I'm not sure if he's with us, but apparently Zach is also saying the same. It's To Purge Oneself.
Any particular reason?
I think it really, we could feel very connected with the song, with the delivery, with the performance. It was my most, I think, my most difficult vocal performance on that song. I literally had to sit down for, I think, half an hour. I just couldn't move anymore for half an hour. I sat down in Karim Audio Loft in his studio. I think Ziad and Anthony probably got their whiskey drinks along with Karim, and they just joined me. We sat down there together and I just couldn't move. I was dead. I was done. That was also the end of the album. So I didn't have to worry anymore about, leaving a bit of throat for the next songs.
So you gave it all you had.
I gave it all I had. I also really, especially for Ziad and I, it felt a lot like something that we both really wanted to do, basically. I'm going to tag the motherfucker so that he joins the stream.
We have Zach. He's on the stream. I'm not sure about Ziad.
Zach is on the stream and always everywhere else. There's no one like Zach.
I do have always more questions, but I'm really trying to get through things without diving into much details. But as anytime you want to talk about something in detail, you're free to do. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Let me move forward in time a bit. 11. That was 2011. So 7 years later, you got the next release, Damnatio Memoria, Latin name. So. What does it mean, the name itself, if translated from Latin?
Damnatio Memoria, literal translation means the damnation of a memory.
Okay.
It's a very interesting practice that Latins used to do whenever someone of high value. So it has been actually practiced against one of the Caesars of Rome. It's a practice that where someone highly and heavily offends the state and the people, you practice the damnatio memoria against them, which means you delete them completely from all history. You go back to all history books that mention them.
Wow. Okay.
Everything that is. In the street, if there's something representing them, you wipe it out, you delete it, they don't exist anymore, you forget about them. And how fucking beautiful is it if we can do the same to our beautiful politicians and everyone else who deserves it?
So who do you put in the center of this title? Who's the character that you want to just delete the memory of?
For me, this album, the Matthew Memoria, was about all organized religion. Again, my own personal preference.
Yeah.
And politicians.
Looks to me it's like a god holding a skull, like instead of carrying the earth, he's carrying a dead skull.
That was Atlas. The
Yeah,
idea was
Atlas
supposed to be Atlas.
carrying the earth, but now he's carrying a dead skull.
He is carrying the weights of the dead.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So you want to erase the memory. You want someone to be erased from existence, and
Yes.
you want some peoples. You mentioned the politicians, which from any aspect you look at it, they deserve it somehow.
Yes.
Their fight is to claim fame and power and glory, and this just erases all of that, and erases them from history. And their struggle to become a president or prime minister or whatever is to place themselves at at power and to place themselves in the books of history. So
yes,
their best punishment would be just to totally erase them. They never existed.
Totally erase them while they live.
Yeah, this is not erasing their existence, not killing anyone, just erasing anything that refers to them. I'm not supporting the rest of the story. Okay, so from that album, you got a lot of positive reviews, a lot of recognition. You got a Metal Hammer Award for this album. Am I correct on that?
Correct.
So that's really a big achievement, I guess, a unique achievement. Not many bands receive such awards, and especially from the Middle East, a Lebanese band, basically, although you were in different countries recording and living. But basically, you could say this is a Lebanese band receiving the first Lebanese band to receive an international award at this caliber, I would say. How did you receive that news, and how did you deal with it? An award. How do you receive an award as a metal band?
It was very it was a bizarre feeling. It feels like a dream within a dream, to be honest, because we showed up at the venue, which is the O2. It's a massive, colossal venue in London.
Mm-hmm.
You already feel very tiny, considering the size of the venue. You feel very humbled, and then there's an insane queue, and you're looking there at the people, and of course, you're not recognized, so you just sneak your way in, and you have no idea what to expect either.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a business card that says KAOTEON?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And then we went into the VIP area, which was a pub. It was a bar inside with music, basically. It's like the waiting zone or the waiting area if you're performing, or if you're invited there, or if you're press or PR or management or something like that. You hang out there. So you're standing there, trying to get a drink. And then you look around you, and it's literally Danny Filth from Cradle of Filth. It's Lacuna Coil. It's drummer of At the Gates, Adrian. It's a bunch of almost everyone you can imagine, just hanging out there, having a drink together, and talking like regular people would talk to each other, and laughing and giggling and joking, and boys being boys, basically. And you're just standing there between them, like, what the fuck? What the hell is this? And I do remember at a point we were waiting by the bar to get a drink, or just drinking what we had in peace, sipping on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then a guy comes by, and he stands with us, and he starts chatting us up, like, what are you guys doing here? We said, well, we're here to receive an award. He said, oh, cool, me too. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then he started talking about how he needs to masquerade himself when he goes out in public. So sometimes he showed me photos. He paints himself in different colors, and he always wears really big glasses, and he has to wear a mask and shit whenever he wants to go out in public. And he mentioned his name around 10 times, but no clue. And he just chilled there, talking, I think, for 10 minutes, just telling me about all kind of things happening in his life and his relationship and how the first relationship failed, and he's working on the next one now. And then he left. And later on, Elia Msawir came by, and he's like, dude, you're talking to him for 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what he was talking to me about, to be honest. And I don't even know why he's talking to me. And he kept going on and on and on. He's like, this is Wes. I'm like, and
Who?
he said that. It's like Wes Borland. I'm like, who's that? He's like the guitarist of Limp Bizkit. Like, oh, okay, cool. So it feels really nice to see people that are, top of their game in their industry, but they're humble and they just want to have fun and have a good chat and talk to random people. It was a very nice experience. And then it was time to go to the stadium. So that was also quite a strange feeling. It was a very beautiful venue, packed. Meshuggah were playing. I saw Lena there as well. Lots of other people that we connected with over the years. We didn't have the chance to see them. We got to meet them there, hang out. And then they call you to get ready. So you go from a waiting area to another waiting area. And you start seeing more and more big musicians, they're just standing next to you, but you're too anxious because you're focused. You have 10 seconds before it's time for you to move and to go to another place. And you can't connect with them, but you're just standing next to them like, oh, holy fuck, okay. I'll talk to you at some other point, I hope. And then they call us, so we go on the stage, and they announce the band, and we go there and say a couple of words. I think I ate half of the things I wanted to say from the rush and from suddenly the amount of people in front of me screaming beautiful things at me. We shook hands, we took the award, and we were waiting to leave. So we're standing still in the dark somewhere, surrounded by people, waiting to leave and go back to actually go to meet the press and do some interviews. And while right before they asked us to go to the interview, they were like, and how was it to actually meet Ozzy? I didn't see him. Is he here? He's like, he's been standing next to you for like a whole minute or something. Ozzy is standing next to me, but I was in so much shock. I'm just standing in front of me like, I didn't even see him. So then you go from a corridor to a corridor. There's a few, I think, interviews on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're walking and then someone asks you questions. But it was like half a meter, there's a camera and a guy, and he's immediately putting the microphone in your head and your face, like, yeah, and blah, 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 blah. How was it? And then you walk half a meter next, and there's another flashlight and camera, and like, it was all too surreal.
Yeah,
it was really tense and really surreal and packed and quick. And it finished, and then it was time to go have a couple of drinks because now you can fucking drink and relax.
Yeah.
So we did that. After that, we were invited to an after party in a club in London.
Nice.
That was awesome. There was a band performing there, and you see, like, again, Danny Filth and I don't remember who else, just jumping around and screaming along to lyrics and just being metalheads, like those guys just being metalheads and enjoying a good show. It was really beautiful, man.
That's quite rare to see, right? A band being in the crowd, being like just an audience, right? Or big bands like these, you don't like imagine them as an audience. You just always see them on the stage. There's a comment from Basim that I think I would to some point agree with him. For me, it sounds strange that an artist has a business card. Maybe an individual solo artist might have a business card, recording sessions, but I suggested that a band, a KAOTEON business card. And Bassem has a comment on this. I could agree with him. He said, "Was that a joke? They should have a business card. We had a business card for Black Yum. So as Black Yum, they had a business card that says Black Yum metal band, probably Lebanon. I don't know what else. Maybe Bassem can write in the comment. What did your business card say, Bassem? We should have talked about it last time when you were our
Sexiest
guest.
man alive, Bassem Davis. That's probably his. No, but I think it's a very good idea. And I think if you can also include a QR code somewhere so that people can scan it and go to your Spotify or Bandcamp or something else, then it can have easy access to your music. I think that's quite a good idea.
Okay, so one last question about the award. Like, in simple way, or I don't know, what did it mean to you? Like, to get an award for an album that you worked for, you spent hours and hours and hours building, recording, producing. What did it mean for you for it to be recognized in, to this different way of recognition, an award, right? Not just nice review, 10/10, whatever. Also an award. Like, how did it feel? How different does it feel to get an award rather than just the perfect reviews or the great reviews?
Yeah, this probably sucks, but it felt a bit unfair. I mean, you're up there with your biggest idols and massive list of bands, and then you get chosen. I don't know. It's maybe not the nice thing to say, but it felt a bit unjustified to have Meshuggah open up, for example. It's, I'm not a fan of their music, but where am I and where? Yeah, it's Meshuggah, man.
They are a big influencer for many, many bands, and they are, let's say, behind what today is Gent, somehow an influencer of what became Gent.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's legends. It felt kind of two-sided. Double.
But then there's the more important question there. So you took one award, and you are two guys.
Yeah.
Where does the award go?
Yeah, I actually never had the award with me.
Okay, so it stayed with Anthony.
Yeah.
Okay. But the award is for KAOTEON, the band.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a bit difficult sometimes when it's a group work and you have one award. Where does it go?
Yeah.
So you got the award. It's an amazing album, great album with great reviews, recognized in a big way, recognized. And you started working on the next release. Took 2 years. I wouldn't know if that is too much or too soon, but relative to the other gaps between the releases, that was very quick release 2 years later. And there was another thing about it. So that was what you call a self-titled release. So KAOTEON,
yes.
KAOTEON 2020 release. For me, as far as I've learned and listened to albums of different bands, it seems that most often the first album is self-titled. Most common. It became a bit of a new thing that like a band like Dream Theater releases an album called Dream Theater. Why did you choose to have the name as the album name?
Very simple. It felt to me like this album managed to capture the different elements that make the essence that is KAOTEON. And I think I was already battling with the idea of leaving, so I also wanted that chapter. I was by far not certain of my choice back then when agreeing on the album name. And I proposed, Bassem just shared something actually funny about the awards. So when I proposed to, or when I was coming up with an album name, I proposed something else that Anthony wasn't interested in. So then I thought, okay, middle ground. let's do KAOTEON instead.
Okay, and you both agreed on that, so that
Yeah,
was.
but if you
decided.
look at a lot of some other bands also have done it. I think Hypocrisy have done it. Satyricon have done it. These two bands are very influential for us. So I thought, well, it's not too weird if you do it. It's fine.
Yeah, it is more or less common. It is common.
Yeah.
But just wanted to know why this album, why that moment in time. So, um, before we get to your thoughts about leaving the band, uh, did you think that this album still pushed forward, or was an improvement, a second step after Damnatio?
Mixed feelings.
Okay.
Damnatio had, for me, a lot of passion, a lot of drive, it was a force forward.
Yeah.
This album, it felt that the presence of these feelings were far less.
So between those two albums and those 2 years, like, did Anthony change country, move, or you moved countries and things in life changed, all that?
No.
So you would expect that you release an album 2018, you get an award, you get super motivated to do the next one, but it wasn't what you'd expect. Like, I would expect that, the band's gonna like do their best and do, put all their time to get the next album best as they can with double the motivation.
That was the intention as well. We wanted to do one album per year. That was the aim, basically.
Okay, so
but
Buckethead style.
Yeah. But we didn't have permanent members, so we had to again think of who's going to be the next drummer, because Linus from Obscura, ex-Obscura, was the bassist, and it was still is for Anthony a great partnership with Linus. But we had to think of a new drummer and send out emails and messages to different people, see who's going to be on board, and then find a production studio that's ready to allocate you within the time and also the budget that you have as an unsigned band. Push for press release. Everything takes a bit of time.
So just to be clear, of course you had to reorganize and reset up, but after the award, were you approached by some labels to be signed? Did you contact labels? Was that thing a topic of discussion, like to get signed, maybe to get funded on the next album?
Actually, during the night of the after party, Lena introduced me to a couple of really interesting people. Also, Elia introduced me to a couple of people within the label industry. We had friends from Metal Hammer and other magazines that were helping.
So for those who don't know, Lena was managing Blackium at a certain time, and she's promoting
at a certain time,
and KAOTEON. And Eliam Sauer was also managing some different bands or promoting bands and events
too,
and all that
at the time.
So these are two people from our scene that work to help our scene grow, right?
For nothing but the love of music.
Okay, I thought we should mention that.
Yeah, thanks. It's a good mention.
So she helped you. She got you in contact with some people, Aliyah also, but that didn't go anywhere. So it just didn't work. No, it didn't go anywhere. Actually, at a point, Lena came with a label proposition, but I think we didn't like the terms of the offering and whatever it included, so we chose not to proceed with that one. But for the rest, it was nothing interesting, at least. So with this entire mood and whole environment around that last album you were part of, did you have a specific track that meant to you and you wanted to have it there? You wanted a message in it? You wanted the, I don't know, maybe the last message in it? Actually, to be honest, I'm very, very happy with all the lyrics of the album. Maybe Wolves of Chaos, because maybe that one so-so, because it's supposed to be also a bit of a punky, thrashy song. So it's generally more fun than serious. And I tend to be on the far more serious
side of metal.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest I'm quite proud of, and they meant quite a lot to me. Catharsis in Unison holds a very special place in my heart. I also think the last track also has a very special place in my heart. Yeah, too many, man. Although I think I like the Matthew a bit more, but still I'm very, very happy with every single song on the KAOTEON album.
Okay. Before we go into the listening to the track, I'm gonna ask you a bit now, and I'll leave you to answer the way you'd like to answer. I'm not gonna press you on the subject more. But anytime a band that has been going for 20 years breaks or somebody leaves the band, we want to know somehow, to whatever we could, why. Of course, we've been following the band for long. We've been excited for KAOTEON's releases, and we've always known KAOTEON to be at least Walid and Anthony. So I'm not gonna press you, but I'm just gonna ask. So, in your own way, what led to you leaving the band?
I think musically, on a musical level, I think I had a certain sound in my head. I have a lot of sounds in my head, and they can get loud at times. But I had a certain sound for a band in my head, and I realized that it can't go there with KAOTEON. So I realized that I had to go somewhere else for that and do my own thing as well. And I think the dynamic that was going on in KAOTEON was not too healthy for both of us. So I personally needed to step away from KAOTEON, which was not easy for me because it was always my child. KAOTEON was always my baby, you know. Regardless what titles and the internet might describe, I was there from the first second. I was a part of the name choosing. I was there when I proposed that we change from the CH to the K at the studio. That happened, by the way, at the studio when we were recording the EP, Provenance of Hatred.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached a place where I'm not having fun also anymore. And having fun is a very, very important part in making art in general. It's a very important expression art, but you should also be enjoying the process. And if you're not enjoying the process, then just go do something else, because already you don't get much out of it beside the personal satisfaction. If that's gone, just go away. And with KAOTEON album, I had to push myself way too much to motivate myself to do it, because I really just wanted something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And KAOTEON was not a place for me where I could express and embrace all of the different demons that I want to expose on music,
so
especially vocally.
So you felt you can't express yourself really the way you wanted through KAOTEON anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
So the best choice was for the band. And I really thought, you know, it's a baby that deserves to be free, and that deserves something better than a very unhealthy parental situation at home, that I just need to move out of the house.
Okay. And did it take you, it seems like it took you some time to even take that decision, right?
It destroyed me, man. That decision destroyed me. It wasn't easy, and I fought against it for a very long time. because I also knew it would mean that I would surrender everything that is KAOTEON. Yeah, just surrender everything that's KAOTEON. I mean, we have everyone here on the chat. Imagine if Garo had to surrender Weeping Willow and move on to do Khavar.
He just commented it's always like personal reasons, and
I saw.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something you're not forced to do, but if you want to do it, it should be enjoyable.
Absolutely.
That's the condition number one. And part added to that would be it should also express you who you are, or give you some space to be who you are.
Yes. Yes. It should be a welcoming environment for every part of who you are.
Yeah.
And you should be able to freely express them as you think is fitting. So in that sense, I'm more than certain I made the right choice, because I do send out demos now to people, and literally their feedback is always like, it sounds like you're doing what you wanted to do. It sounds like you're having fun. It sounds like we're meeting far more layers of who you are.
So we'll have a discussion on the future plans, but that is for me interesting. Like, oh, it seems you found your way forward. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about what was your latest work and where are you going next. There is a video that Bassem shared on the chat from YouTube from the award part. I will try to play it. There's a big chance we're gonna watch a YouTube ad when it starts. Although I have a ad block, but there's a Milka ad that just wants to play. Anyway, I'll try to run that, and after that, I will transition to play track Catharsis in Unison, and after the track, we talk about the lyrics. So first, I'm gonna try to run the YouTube video, and let's see what we get. Hopefully, not much of a Milka ads. Let's see.
How you doing? Hold on. I can fucking do better without this. Thank you. Anthony and I come from a lovely place called Beirut. Very peaceful, kind to human beings. We've survived 35 years of war. We've been to jail for metal music. And to be honest, we've survived because of metal music. So we would like to thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'd just like to thank Linus Klasnitzer, the bassist from Obscura and Alkaloid, who played with us in the album. Frederick Viddix from Marduk, who was on the album as well, Damnatio Memoriae. And I just want to tell you that we've been doing this for 20 years. And this is the best moment. We are really, really humbled and proud to be taking this award for Metal Hammer. And for your support, thanks a lot. It means a whole lot to us. Thank you. And I would like to take just a selfie with you guys, because you don't get to be on this stage every day.
Give it up! That is fucking awesome, and hopefully.
So there was KAOTEON on the Metal Hammer Awards, and where you just move away from the microphone and you just scream loud, and it's obviously loud enough. You don't need a microphone. I'm gonna run the video track that I mentioned, Catharsis in Unison, and definitely take a break that I do need to refill my cup. And after that, we talk about the lyrics. Okay, so we're gonna listen to Catharsis in Unison. Catharsis. Sounds more like my dying KAOTEON.
I'm a massive fan of My Dying Bride, to be honest, and I think through the years, Anthony and I talked a lot about doing a doom metal album,
So
which I
Anthony is
still would
also
love
a
to do
fan
one
of
day.
doom metal, so you're both into
Yeah.
doom, both of you. Okay.
Yeah. So the song was clearly influenced by that early 90s era, and I think a couple of lines of lyrics also show a bit of that influence.
So that's part of the lyrics, or you already
Yes.
posted in the chat. And I wanted to pause and give enough time to talk about one example of the lyrics of one track, as I know, and I'm sometimes guilty of that too, that I would listen to a track without knowing a single word, just enjoying the music. But I do also have a lot of tracks where lyrics mean a lot to me, and they mean more than the music itself. Although the music could be amazing, I could be just mesmerized by the lyrics. So you said this is one of your favorite. I selected that. We just heard it, and you have the lyrics there. It's now your turn to tell me more about those lyrics. If you want, you can recite them poetically, and then tell us more what they mean to you.
Recite them poetically. Okay, I didn't prepare
like.
my finest voice. Sure.
If you'd like.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Well, maybe I can do it the other way around. Maybe I can explain it a bit first, so that people maybe would connect to it differently or better, and then I can recite it. To me, this Catharsis in Unison, it's a song about liberation, devotion, and healing. It's a play with contrasts, and it's an attempt to find harmony between all the chaos. It's a song about finding a vessel, a stable ship, in another soul and another person, to calm each other's storms, to sink those hurricanes into a breeze of cool air instead of a hurricane. And most importantly, and that's something I firmly believe in, it's a song that talks about the importance of unclothing each other of burdens and of the civil mask that we have to wear outside of our most intimate four walls, which is the line that says, near naked as Christ on the cross. It's about working really hard to destroying the civil wall. Sorry, my Lebanese instincts immediately jump into civil war. It's an attempt at destroying those civil walls, the ones that we wear outside of our four-chambered heart, and a hope of returning to our playful innocence. That's what the song means to me, at least.
So, and you said it has some influence from like the old Doom tracks, and the choice of words, you would say, or?
Yeah, I think especially with the Christ on the cross gives me lots of
Tiamat.
old My Dying Bride, Tiamat as well. Good old 90s Doom, which is my preferred version of Doom.
I see. So this was kind of searching for, I won't use the word, but I guess because it's a bit misplaced, I'm gonna use it. Looking for a soulmate, but in a way that soulmate will take you back to your innocence, take you back to that freedom of expression.
It wasn't about finding a soulmate. It was a tribute, actually. Still is a tribute. And I also wanted to make it a little bit in my own approach and my own style, of course. And when you're a person that has to always trying to find a way to basically quiet your head, it's very important to be able to pour this as a, or not to pour this, but rather to try to find momentum with the waves. And I think it's always better to do that with someone else than to do it on your own.
And if you listen to it now, does it still sound the same to you? Does it still feel the same to you?
I think so, yeah. I think so. At least as lyrics, yeah, I think it still stands as is. Of course, I think our preference in expressing ourselves musically or artistically definitely changes along the years, because this was composed way earlier than the album release, obviously. I think a year and a half in between or something. But I still really like the lyrics.
Okay. I have a question. Not so common question, and not so common, I think, topic. We did mention Unadikum, Ahmad Kabour. We did mention that there's a track that has a lot of value in it for many people. And for many metalheads, you would like to kind of hear it in a different way, rearrange it in a way you would maybe enjoy it more, sing it in your own style, you know, produce it as a different track, but in a different genre, more or less, and a different style. And it is common, it is becoming really quite common to take some of the classics and, you know, remake them. Not necessarily metal and heavy, but remake them a bit more rock. A common example would be Project Rasas by, so at the moment I'm about to mention the name, I forget the name. So they take tracks that they cover. I mentioned them before. Okay, I'll get back to the names, but the project is called Rasas. So they take classical tracks and they play them as rock. And is there a thought where you would think, I really love this metal track, and I would really wish we had it remade, rearranged maybe as an Oriental one, or maybe as a, I don't know, you know, a more Levantian track. Is there a track that you think would perfectly fit that formula to take it from metal back to something else that's more, let's say, traditional music?
I think a lot of Emperor stuff. Because of course they, yeah, it has that grandeur feeling, you know, larger than life attitude. And I can imagine if it's completely orchestrated, it could be really beautiful. I'm not talking about another S&M or Satyricon with an opera. No, I'm talking about keep the metal elements out and just completely restructure it, like you asked.
And maybe like sing it in Arabic, like take the English lyric and do it in Arabic. Not necessarily, but maybe.
No, maybe, I don't know, maybe.
So the project Rasas, I just remember the name, is Rawad Abdel Masih. He was also the guy behind the Hourglass, was Bass and Ibis, and then he made the project Rasas, where he covered, I think, one track by Majid Rumi. I'm not sure.
Wow.
And some other
God
tracks.
be with him.
Yeah, but I mentioned that because he rearranged them, not metal but rock, to some bit of metal in it. But there was kind of, I think another track was, a goal is to do an Adikum. And I'm just Googling that just to be sure, so I don't say something that's not right. I think they did redo Unadikum. So it's on Reverb Nation. I think you can listen to it. Okay. Maybe I'll post the link in the comments. So they did rearrange Unadikum in their own way and do it.
Cool.
Yeah, and they had much more to go to come. I don't know if they do more on that. But yeah. I really enjoyed those tracks. They become a bit more, let's say, accessible to let's say the Puritan metalheads that will listen to the traditional stuff. Okay. Let's get to another project that you were part of, and you had a second release in 2011, and that was called, here you have to correct me, was it originally called Gothmog and then Ordum?
It was originally called Gothmog.
So first started as Gothmog, and when I search for Gothmog, I get this very friendly guy from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he's peachy, isn't he?
So that
He's probably the nicest guy to have a beer with, to be honest.
I
On
think
a ship
so.
in Scotland. Yeah.
Okay, so how did this whole thing happen? How did it start with the Gothmog name, and how did it transition to Ordum?
So actually, I was invited to join Gothmog after the name was already set. Probably the only two names that most people would connect with still today from Gothmog and Ordum are John Bajos, Aneurysm, and Riyad Hajar, ex-KAOTEON, ex... crap, I forgot JM's thrash metal band name. The dehumanizing factor. Help! Damage Right.
Damage Right.
So he was also the drummer of Damage Right. They had other members with them. To be honest, I don't remember their name. I haven't been in touch with those guys since 2004, if not even earlier. I think around the time the arrests started happening, they disappeared like a lot of other people, or at least didn't connect with others. So Gothmog faded away. John was already, I think, in Canada back then and already thinking about doing something far more progressive. So he started working on Aneurysm. And then out of the blue, I think I got an email from John or something like that. Would you like to revive Gothmog? Fuck yeah, let's do that. So it all happened way too fast, to be honest, way too fast. I think in 1 year we had finished recording, composing, and then recording, and probably even producing it, and it was out there.
Quite a fast process.
Yeah, a very fast process. Riyad on drums was always and still is a madly peculiar guy. That's a massive understatement. He was as peculiar as he's talented, and he is talented as fuck. So I think with 3 days left to go, or no, he randomly, casually at one point said we have to finish everything in 3 days. I said, oh, okay, cool, but why? Because we just started recording vocals.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, because I'm leaving the country. Okay.
But Lebanese don't usually immigrate.
Yeah, never. Yeah. So we had to wrap up. And that kind of was the end of things because we didn't see a way forward, basically. And we didn't do much with the album. We just sent a couple of emails to people, sent a couple of, posted 2 links on YouTube and the rest probably on Reverb Nation or something like that. And that was it. Nothing much happened. Years passed by, and every once in a while I poked John, come on, let's do this, because this guy, man, he shits riffs. This guy is an amazing fucking riff machine.
Yeah.
He's talented as hell. So, yeah, nothing much happened. And he would send some riffs, and then they were amazing as always, but we didn't pick it up. Life happens, and then, you move on or you get busy with something else.
Things change.
And I got a message from John, I think, maybe a month ago, saying, what's up, big boy? What's up, big boy?
Yeah.
So we do another Ordum soon? I'm like, yeah, man, fuck yeah, let's do another Ordum.
Really?
So I think it's, again, in the oven.
Really?
Let's get him into that. Let's tag him and bully him into the chat.
That would be interesting, right? Because it was very difficult to find anything about this album, and as you said, like I searched a lot. I found on YouTube 2 tracks. I'm gonna play one in a bit, but I think there's something there that if you work on building, if you build on that, there's something very interesting there.
We had a very good chemistry. And I'm very proud of the 5 tracks that we did. So I would really like to see more.
So I'm gonna run one of the tracks. I have 2 here. One is called Societal Destruct, and one is called The False Conflict.
Cool.
I have no real preference, and I did ask you already. It's up to me, so I'm gonna randomly just go with the False Conflict. We've been talking about conflicts a lot lately, so I'll run that
Sounds
one.
good.
Let's give it a listen, and then we'll continue from there.
Cool.
conflict resides, thinking that man can understand through his heart and spare his mind.
That was Ordum. I particularly enjoyed, it has the traditional black death parts. There's the parts where it goes into a bit of an acoustic background, a bit of more bass lines coming in, leaving.
Yeah.
What we have to admit, it doesn't have the best recording quality.
Oh yeah, it was
And-
mixed by the same guy who mixed KAOTEON's first demo.
Yeah, so
The drummer.
of course it wasn't given all what it needs to be in the quality you need.
No.
That's why part 2 would be given a better chance. But
Absolutely.
as I said, that I enjoyed it because I see elements that are interesting, that are creative, that are quite grabbed my attention in many ways. Of course, also I noticed some mistakes in the recording and all that. But when you describe how things were done, it's totally understandable. So I would love to see a part 2. I don't know what you call it. So that's circle, maybe that would be square. But why the circle? Any specific reason?
I'm trying to remember because this is centuries ago. This is a lot of hair ago.
Yeah.
But
Pre-baldness?
I think it just it felt to us like a circle complete, like a chapter done, basically.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a self-contained, complete story in itself.
Yeah,
Independent.
it's just a complete, finished chapter, self-contained indeed, and time to move on to something else.
So it looks like you weren't planning to go beyond it, or
No, it was something that we would have liked to do, I'm sure.
yeah.
But these are songs that, especially John, started composing from centuries ago, from the days when Gothmog began. So probably early 2000s. Well, for sure, early 2000s. So it was just time to, shelf them and be, okay, next, time to move on to Ordum 2.0,
Yeah.
basically. So I think that was more the idea.
Okay. I see a lot of talents there in the music and the work.
Yeah.
And
The drummer and both of them are really phenomenal, man. Insane musicians.
I'd like to have them as next guests, maybe on one of our next episodes, to talk about where did they go and where things went. I know there was some other projects connected to almost anyone we talk about that's mentioned has some other project somewhere or has been part of 3 other projects. It's always connected, right? Branches everywhere in the scene.
Absolutely.
I have 4 topics left. That doesn't mean they need 4 minutes. There are 4 topics. And I'm just a bit clocking myself, more or less clocking myself. So, and we're perfectly on time. I think we need 1 more hour to get through those and give them the proper right. Maybe less, a bit less.
Yep.
I have a topic, then a video to watch, then a topic, then a video to watch.
Cool.
Among those 2 topics, and I'll leave it in the chat to decide. We're not in a rush. We can talk about the novel or talk about Metalgy. So I'll leave it to the comments. The first 3 comments will be the vote for which one to go for. So either talking about your novel that you're writing or talking about what you used to do in Metalgy and what was that about. Okay, so I think if Patrick and I knew about Metalgy, we should have sabotaged it, but we couldn't. It was the competitor. So in Lebanon, you should always sabotage the competitor. Remember that. That's the golden rule. So novel or Metalgy? So I guess we already got two novels, 2 out of 3 novel. Let's talk about the novel. So you're a musician, a singer, someone who writes lyrics, and lyrics are profound, complicated, structured, they're difficult, but eventually they're 1 page or 2 pages.
Most extents, 1 page. Yeah.
If you want to go into a novel, you're going into much more extended writing content and much more detailed description of a scene, much more clarity in what you describe. Poetry can be a lot of abstract ideas, and you can use 2 sentences to just set up the whole scene, right? Now you're working with the novel where you dive into the details, and we did talk a bit before the interview, before this talk, about the novel, the genre, the idea. I'll let you talk in details, but let me start with this question. Why? Why would you think of a novel, and why is it a novel, and why is it fantasy?
I've always had a very interesting imagination, and I think that's something that most single childs do, especially before the invention of TikTok and the internet. And I was always drawn to fantasy in general. I'm also a very big fan of everything fiction.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm not a big fan of religion. But ever since I was a child, you know, whenever we had to write an article in school about something, whatever it is, especially in French, English, or Arabic, so something that is literature related, I would often come up with the weirdest stories, and most of the time I would get a decent grade just because it was a weird story, not because it was what I was supposed to do.
So grades for
So kind of
creativity.
Yeah, kind of A for effort.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, I was going through a very, very difficult part of my life, phase in my life. I actually have been living in Corona quarantine since early 2019 because I broke my toe in a couple of places and I had, I think, 3 bone fractures.
Wow.
And that got infected, and then it healed a bit, and then it got infected again, and then it went on and on and on. So I've been most of the time sitting at home since beginning of 2019.
You didn't kick a bowling ball, right?
No, unfortunately not. That would have been more fun. This one time I was drinking arak. No. And I couldn't do music because KAOTEON wasn't going too well for me, and it was also causing me some of the problems that I was going through. And I wanted to find other musicians to try to do different style, but I couldn't find any. And writing lyrics, just, you know, sitting there with a drink and writing lyrics has never been something that I would enjoy doing. I like to focus on the music side and the idea and the general image first before going into writing the lyrics. And I've always said I would like to try to write more seriously, in a sense of sit there and write for a couple of hours regular writing, basically. It always has been a very strange relationship. I've had a strange relationship with writing where it feels that you're pulling your insides out, but the end of process is, but at the same time, it's soothing. So one day I was at home and I had an idea that was stuck in my head for quite a while. I'm a big fan of old Lebanese dubbed cartoons. So Adnan Walina and obviously Grandizer and everything else. I never liked Captain Majid because I hate football. I still hate football. So there was an idea about a kid who was on an island, bored out of his brains and wanted to run away. And I think from there, I decided this kid had a special talent of, said the bold man, had a special talent for growing his hair at a very fast rate. So then I decided this kid just built his raft and tied the wood together using his hair and is going to run away from the island one day. That, of course, wasn't eventually the novel. But that boy, along with his features and his character and his spirit, kind of stayed with me. So one day I just started writing, and I think I wrote probably close to 30 pages in a single day. And it was the most amazing, beautiful experience. It reminded me of that episode of Mickey Mouse, what's it called? Fantasia or something like that. It's when Mickey Mouse is doing magic and he starts drowning, basically. But it felt like it. It felt like just making magic and having a really damn good time doing it and enjoying every part of the puzzle.
So you sat down, you spent a day, you wrote 30 pages, but that could have been just, the mood of the day.
Yeah.
How much did you build on that further?
I think I deleted most of them by the end of the week and decided to rewrite everything.
But it gave you kind of a structure somehow, or...
It gave me a certain structure. It gave me a certain idea to chase.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept chasing it. I'm still chasing parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very bizarre to... It's a very strange feeling to write a novel. It's a very weird thing. Especially if you've never done it before, because you learn as you go, and you can write 90% of it and then realize, oh, hold on a second, none of that works. Or if you're also a bit wired like I am, you will hate everything about it in a day and then decide this is all just shit. No one ever is going to like this. So you delete everything and you rewrite again and again and again, which is something very tricky and you have to not do. Because in a band, others force you to stop retrying. This is just good enough. Leave it. Stop it. But if you're doing this on your own, nobody is stopping you except yourself. You have to decide.
Keep rewriting, keep redoing,
This is good enough. I have to stop now, which is not easy to do. So I started working on it. It's far from complete. But Corona also really hasn't been the most helpful in that sense. You're sitting there indoors and you're basically battling with everything that was normal life. So it's not too easy to keep pushing yourself artistically and fighting the internal motivation to do it. But I'm still doing my best to push myself and to write more and to work better on the idea and to talk to people about it and to share and to see what they think about it and what I can do differently. Or if they think something makes sense or something is too bizarre or something doesn't work. So it's something that I'm still working on.
So
and the idea...
So far, how much... Maybe it's not really good to count just how many pages, because the story can be 10 pages incomplete and 1,000 pages and incomplete, like Game of Thrones. So how many pages are you at now, and where is that in the story? How complete is the story?
So I think I have around 20 to maybe 27,000 words, because the definition of a novel is it should be at least 40,000. No, sorry. Yeah, it depends on which source you're looking at. Some people would say 40,000 is a novella. Others would say, no, 40,000 is too big for a novella. But I am generally aiming for around 70, 60,000 words. So far from there.
So there are a few people who got the chance to read the draft you have at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And they, you mentioned to me that they compared your writing to a guy called Terry Pratchett. Am I right on that?
Which is funny because I've never read Terry Pratchett. I've always wanted to. I'm a big fan of his friend, Neil Gaiman, but Terry I've never read.
So what's special about Terry's style, and how did the people compare what he does to what you're working on?
So I have a thing. Whenever I see a book, even if it were... No, probably not the memoirs of... let's not get off topic. One of my favorite things to do is to pick up a book and read the first page. I have a thing for the first chapter and the first page of a book. And I've had a chance to pick up a couple of random Terry Pratchett books because he has a billion book, and to read the first page. And it humbles you by force. the powers of this magician is just from a different galaxy, man. So I don't see what fool would ever think whatever I do compares to Terry Pratchett. I don't think it does. But there's a very good friend of mine, Maxime Daher, who is an amazing writer. He read some of the drafts and he said what he likes about it is that I still write musically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't rhyme because I don't like rhyming. And I think if you do the 101 of rhyming, which is looking for words that rhyme and spending your entire time on a line so that your words would be aligned, you should go back to kindergarten. It sucks. But I tried, I don't want to rhyme, of course, while writing it, but he said that it has a certain musical flow, and that is something I try to find. And if I'm reading a book and I feel that it flows musically, I'm always, the book has my attention. So I try to do that. And I think it's been going well so far, to be honest. It's been going well in that sense. I'm happy, not maybe 100% happy, but at least I'm happy that I'm learning as I go and I'm readapting and yeah.
Do you have a target on when to finish it, more or less, and to get it published?
Yes, 2020.
Okay.
No, I the thing is I lost structure because so there's something about your spot. Your spot where you work for a certain purpose is very important. If you love cooking, which I do, then you have your own spot and you like to do your thingy here and that thing there, and you like to do it in a certain way. And it's terrible to mix, which is why they always say, don't make the bedroom as your working desk as well. Divide it. And with Corona, of course, I lost any kind of a working space that I can dedicate to something else beside work, because now I work from where we're calling right now, or I work from the lower floor if my puppy is alone on the day and she needs a bit of company. But I need to find my zone again, and I need to find a bit more inspiration. And I used to get that a lot from traveling. I lost that like most other people. I don't have the inspiration anymore. And also in the beginning of 2020, I moved to a somewhat remote part of the Netherlands, to a village, which is great because you're surrounded by nature. But I think I need a bit more chaos. It's a bit too quiet and too zen.
So I guess as soon as things open up again, or actually now they're more or less opened up again, so you just need to go to some 3-4 festivals, 2-3 concerts, and you're back on track.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or just a sunny island somewhere in Greece, eating dolma and drinking.
That would help. That would definitely help.
Yeah, that would help.
So
that
you need
help.
something
to
shake the mood, to shake the situation.
I do, but at the same time, I also got busy working on some music. So I could finally chase that. So I think I put the novel a bit on a side to focus on that and maintain the momentum. But it's bugging me at all times. And it's just a voice somewhere poking you and telling you, hey, you know yourself. If you put something away for too long, then it's gone. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to be gone.
You know, I hear that a lot, that sometimes you have to force yourself to commit to something, even though you do enjoy it. You just feel that you need to prioritize something else, you need to focus on something else, and you keep pushing it. And it's not something unique to few people. I think it's something general to all people. We all get busy with a lot of things in our lives, but we still have some sort of a passion to a project. And every time you get the chance to push it, like, few pages forward, then you'll try to do that, I hope.
Yeah.
So no pressure there, but we hope that you get it out. And we'd like to, we are a place about music, but music is also art and creativity, and from a novel comes a lot of metal lyrics, right? Like, I don't know
Yes.
the relation between Bass and Ibis and Lord of the Rings. I don't know if there's a relation there, but I know that some novels have inspired metalheads.
Yeah, I mean, Lord of the Rings have inspired 90%, if not more, of all black metal.
So Blind
All
Guardian
band names.
and black metal
Gothmog,
band, yeah,
one of them. Blind Guardian with all the
almost everything.
ballads.
But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so you could reach something, do something, get it out, and from that there could come more metal music and metal lyrics and metal inspired
For sure.
stuff. You never know.
For
So
sure.
I would definitely encourage you to keep going, find the space needed for it to work, and
Thanks, man.
hopefully we'll
Yeah.
get to read it maybe at the end of next year. Okay.
I hope so.
No pressure. But anyway, I'm gonna move to the second subject. These are short ones, so I'm gonna mention a bit the tracks you've been part of, and this is a special track that means a lot to the metal scene in Lebanon. So this is a tribute to Dio, our Lebanese metal scene made. Correct me if I'm wrong on the date, but I'm actually not sure of the date. It was near 2011, 12, was it?
I think so. I think so.
So I'm gonna play that Heaven and Hell, a tribute to Dio, and was by many different musicians, singers from
Yes.
our Lebanese metal scene. This is a very
Yes.
interesting track, a very memorable track, and kind of somewhat like brings together many people from the scene. So I'm gonna play that one,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna talk
And-
about. Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I want to say that the whole thing itself was basically organized and orchestrated by Rabia Daibes. It was mixed by a lovely guy called Bassem Tao. It was just a beautiful day where we all met. Natalie was there. Natalie Bandage was there. A bunch of amazing Lebanese vocalists and musicians were all there gathering at the place. We recorded the song and had a really, really good time together.
Okay, so there were some other contributions that they were never released. So one thing I will also keep trying to do is to dig those out and get them on, at least on YouTube, so we can watch them and share them. I've talked to many people before that had some stuff even with the video ready, and they never uploaded it. So one example would be Rebellion. So some other people are, coming back to the scene now, re-releasing things that should have been online.
Beautiful.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Let's go. Heaven and Hell, a tribute to, as Basim wants, Dio.
Hello everyone. If you're watching this, I'm gonna start by thanking you for your time. And this is the Lebanese rock and metal musicians tribute to Dio. We have all lost a brother, we have all lost a father, we have all lost a friend. So tonight we're paying tribute to all of them. Because Dio was a father, the brother, and a friend. So
So that was recorded 2015, actually. Just said in the end of the video. It's maybe one of the only, or at least one of the very few, where we had many people from the scene contributing to make one track. It is a cover track, but not necessarily just the cover. There's a lot of inputs from different people playing their own thing, their own style. It's an extended version, you could say, with a lot of contribution. I really enjoyed that track from start to end. It's a really nice track.
So this is really, for me, it's a very beautiful track, and it's such a beautiful emotional connection also with people that I value and respect so much. Beside the ridiculous guitar talent of everyone involved, the Ibis family are all very special in their own way. Danny has such an amazing voice. Rabia is a kick-ass guitar player. And one of the nicest people you can ever meet in your life, of course. Bassem is fucking phenomenal. But it was also beautiful to be featured alongside other musicians that I respect so much that I never had the opportunity before to maybe share the stage with or play something with because of the difference in style. Like Natalie, for example, she's a freaking fucking phenomenal singer and front woman, and she's just too much talent. It's amazing.
So this gave you a chance to be together on the same track, each in his own way.
Absolutely. And also other musicians maybe that did not have a chance back then to be heard. Like Yahya, for example. Yahya is one of the best singers, I think, that Lebanon had to offer. The guy has such a beautiful color to his voice. And this is the only place that I have any recording of Yahya.
I've seen him live on stage. They were covering power metal stuff, but I've never, followed up much on anything recorded by Fourth Dimension. What the name, I think, of the band.
He's a big fan of power metal. He's a big fan of everything that requires pipes, basically.
I have to maybe dig back in the history and figure out what I can find, and maybe they did release and record something, Yahya, and see what we could share of that.
Cool.
Yeah, quite an interesting track. What would you call it? I don't know. There is one thing in this video that didn't age well. If you know what it is, write it in the comments. I'm not gonna say more. Okay? One thing. Let's move forward a bit beyond this. This is one video where we had a lot of people from the metal scene, and Leb Metal, as Leb Metal, we started in 2009. So before Leb Metal, there was always someone else covering before Leb Metal and always in parallel to Leb Metal. And there will definitely be after Leb Metal. So as far as we think we last in doing what we do, there's always an end at some point. And somebody will continue covering metal scene of the Levant at least. Before Leb Metal, before 2009, as far as I know, there was something called Metalgy between 2005 and 2008. Can you tell me more about our main competitor?
But there are also quite a handful of other competitors that maybe shouldn't be too excluded. Like Haysam and Abed ran Metal East, which I think is the most fucking genius name ever. Metal East. They ran that website for quite a couple of years before Metalgy.
Yeah.
And of course, Leb Metal, Lebanese Metal. And the aim of these websites was always the same, which is to support the local metal scene and nurture it.
There was Metal Bell later on.
Yeah, Metal Bell did so fucking much. And no one ever knew who the hell that guy is. I still want to buy him a couple of beers. I never knew who he is. He never said his name. Natalie knows. I think one day I'll get her to disclose the secrets.
Yeah, in the comments I see also Hizb Rock. That was a thing for some while.
Hizb Rock was a thing, yeah, by Habib. So Metallurgy, like the other websites, like Lab Metal, the aim was to support the metal scene, to bring a bit of knowledge into the metal scene, especially back then because we didn't have proper access to the internet. I used to literally undercover, I used to sell MP3 or audio CDs to people because not everyone had a dial-up connection enough to download an album, burn it on a CD, and then have a CD within your reach. So
with the internet speed in Lebanon at the time, it was phenomenal, just like it is today, right?
Yeah, not much changed. But the third part, which I also enjoyed thoroughly, is to try to bring a bit of knowledge to the rest of the world that we exist. We have a scene. We just don't have a mean of showing that we have a scene.
Yeah.
So Metallurgy started just like, it was quite a big community effort, and there were, I think, at a point up to 20 people in the Metallurgy community meeting, which is let's talk agenda, let's talk about what to do, you know, who would you like to interview, do you have access to this or that person? 20 people, that's quite a big number of people to bring together in Lebanon. Metallurgy started far more serious about what is metal, what is not, just like me. Because especially back then, I was a metal ninja. I'm still a metal ninja warrior. I don't know if Carl is in the chat, but Carl and I share that. We are metal ninja warriors. That's metal. That's not metal. Fuck this shit. This.
Yeah.
So this was times 1,000 because I was a young adult with 10 times the amount of passion for debating. So what we used to do actually at a point is we used to burn a lot of CDs. We had a couple of guys, maybe 3 guys in the group that had a CD writer. And we would burn around 200 to 300 CDs. We would go to concerts like Back to the Roots or any other concert organized by friends. And we would distribute the CDs. And we would try to bring a bit of more knowledge into the metal scene, sharing a bit more music. And we would have different folders, you know, black metal, thrash metal, death metal, heavy metal, whatever. I can, of course, imagine it never, ever had any progressive metal because I still don't like it. I like progressive rock far more, especially anything 64 to around 77, 78. I fucking love this shit.
So
I'll eat it for breakfast.
Two bands I have to ask about then. You don't like Opeth?
No. I think every album is one song that they recorded in the late 90s and they've been reprinting.
Okay.
That's what my head thinks.
You know, a lot of people would disagree.
Most of metalheads would. For sure. That's just how it sounds like to me.
But then there's the high society prog metal like Tool. What do you think about Tool?
I never liked Tool, I think, until 2 months ago.
Okay. Really?
I could never understand what the point is because for me, I digest music by feelings first. I need to feel something. And Tool does not make me feel anything. Just like most progressive metal, progressive rock makes me feel so much. Camel, of course, an Arab would say Camel or King Crimson, especially the first 2 albums before it got too complicated. My favorite song of all time is Epitaph by King Crimson, which Salam introduced me to. It's still a song that I dream of covering one day. I need my feelings to be engulfed in the music. If you hit me with a strange song structure, it means nothing to me and I understand nothing out of it. And it just, I don't care. I don't care. When the invoice comes at a restaurant, I always ask someone to just let me know how much I should pay. I don't want to go through this and divide and do mathematics. I'm here to have a good time. Thank you very much.
There's Adnan from Unmuted asked, did you start watching Rick and Morty 2 months ago?
I don't like Rick and Morty. To me, it sounds like a bunch of people just screaming at me all the time.
So that's not how you got into Tool, through Rick and Morty, or?
No, actually far worse. I got into a tool by this guy. There's this YouTuber. He's called the Old Composer Decomposer.
So he
He's
breaks
a
down the
gentleman.
style, describes how things evolve and how they work around and all that. Oh, I
Yes,
love
sir.
that one. Yeah, I've seen it.
And he's not a metalhead. He likes rock. He grew up to some rock things. He's a music composer
Yeah.
and a film composer, a score composer. And he gets recommendations by people in the comment section on
And he studies
YouTube.
it.
And
Yeah.
he would just play the song. And he chose, what's it called? Tool 46 and 2. Which I've been told by other people, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you start with this song?
Because it's the complicated tribal beats in it. The one very complicated tribal beats in it. Yeah.
But that guy kind of, he said, focus, just isolate this and focus on what he's doing. And when you finish digesting that, go back to the beginning with that in mind and focus what on the other guy is doing. And I had my headphones on and I just started focusing on it. And I'm sitting there smiling like an idiot. Like, what the fuck did you just do? What? You just went from this to what? I'm just talking to myself here, actually, right here, talking to myself for around 20 minutes and smiling like an idiot.
But okay, so you got kind of, let's say, a pointer or kind of a guidance on how to get into it. And then you got into it and you maybe discovered what the hell is interesting about this. And I assume now you did give it more than one listen, right? And you got more familiar to the beats and now you hear the track starts and you know what's coming. It's not like, oh, what the fuck is happening? It's like, oh, it's gonna go there, then go there. So you're more familiar with the track.
Well, to a certain extent, because it's a ton to digest also.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you.
And after you go through this difficult transition and digestion, do you wake up a day and say, I'm gonna listen to this thing?
Couple of things, especially this specific song, 46 and 2, whatever.
Yeah.
That song is still one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah.
And another song that was also, I actually need to remember who recommended that track to me, but there's another track that I loved dearly. Stinkfest, I think. I also liked quite a lot. In the past, I only liked Sober. That was the only Tool song I always really loved a lot. But I got to like Anima also and Stinkfest and Wissam Bahri. Wissam Bahri.
He recommended.
I'm smiling now thinking about all the Wissam memories. He recommended checking more. Yeah, Wissam and I had endless drunken discussions about how I could never understand Tool.
Yeah, the thing is, I am a metalhead, but the genre that I'm mostly into is the prog genre, and exactly. But it includes a lot of prog death metal. You know, these days, like very big portion of whatever is prog is connected to death metal, and they're like, you know, becoming almost one thing with the releases, like a prog death album one after the other. Maybe a bit of Opus influence of what they did. And then they give up on it. So, but still, I'm too much into the prog, and it takes time to get into. But the moment you start to, like, you know, deconstruct the track, and every time you listen to it, you listen to a certain aspect of it. You listen like 10 times to the track and enjoy it differently every time. I know prog is a subject on its own. I'm not gonna dive into now, but I'm agreeing that if you are given a bit of pointers on a specific track, on what's great about it, and you give it a chance, you have maybe you might enjoy it and get into it on your own eventually.
I tried the same exercise so much with Dream Theater, and I hate his voice so fucking much, and I tried so much. It didn't work. I like Pull Me Under a lot, and it, for some bizarre reason, the song actually pops up in my head often. At least once or twice a month. And because of Natalie and Basim, I also tried
Symphony X.
Symphony X a lot.
Because I know from Natalie, she's a big fan of Symphony X, and she did mention that several times. Yeah.
And Symphony X I can appreciate a bit more than Dream Theater, because I think the music is more fun. It has the nice riffs that you can go, oh fuck, that's a nice riff.
Yeah.
I don't get that with Dream Theater, because I'm not looking at what his pinky is doing all day long.
Yeah, well, eventually they became more of a technical challenge rather than enjoyable music. I never enjoyed any of their latest releases. I only enjoyed Scenes from a Memory, and 2005 was the boundary where I stopped enjoying Dream Theater.
Yeah.
It's a topic for another day to go much into. I want to go next to talk about one other track that you contributed to. A project, I don't know if you'd call it a band, When the World Burns. It's a project.
It is a band.
Or is it a band?
No, well, it is a band, yeah. It's a band by two absolutely fucking epic gentlemen. Well, one of them is a gentleman, and that's Karim. His brother, Junior, is a fucking amazing guy. I love this guy so fucking much. And the beautiful part about this is that Junior and I kept talking about making music together probably in 2005, something like that.
Yeah.
We chilled a couple of times in either, during Weeping Willow concerts or Weeping Willow metal nights, or a couple of times at Duncan Zella, having 1 liter of milk and 20 milliliters of coffee, and talking about doing something black metal or something like that, Hey, Nabil is in the chat. Speaking about Grandizer, one more for the collection.
I see the picture behind you. Nice poster.
Thanks. I also got a mouse pad.
Maybe that's the name of the next project.
Oh, I wish, man, to cover the
Grandizer.
Grandizer intro song. I would love to do that. So yeah, we talked about that quite a lot, and then they did already a couple of songs with a few phenomenal, massive, big vocalists.
Yeah.
I think by then they already did with Jason from Misery Index and Agatha Diamond. I know what Agatha Diamond means to Junior. He also tried to get me many times to get into the band, but it kind of didn't click with me.
I enjoyed one track by the band in 2000. I listened to it 2002. One track. And I didn't like anything else, just one track. And that's all I know about it. Just one track, one name. Yeah.
Similar to me and to Grave Worm and I. Also Grave Worm, that was a phase in Lebanon I don't miss. So yeah, we spoke about doing something together for quite a while. And then the time came. And what's even better about this opportunity is that it was produced by JM. Fuck JM, everyone. So a few really fucking dear, good friends of mine that we could collaborate on something. And they sent me, the music, and it was heavy as fuck. The riffs were phenomenal, and Junior's signature drumming is absolutely fucking there. It gave a whole other dimension to the track, and also to have the opportunity of I see the unmuted tribe now there. Love you guys, and fuck JM.
Yeah, expressing the love for JM.
Yeah. So it was a great opportunity, really fun to do. And I'm quite proud of the outcome. And I know that When the World Burns actually have a new song released next week, I think, right? Or in 2 weeks?
So I've seen in the comments, there's a new track coming. So, of course, we'll share it when it's out. We'd love to have someone from the band to talk to. Maybe Junior would like to be our guest in one of our next episodes. We'll talk
Can
to
you
him
imagine
soon.
the amount of stories Junior has to offer?
I know, and I know also Karim
Insane.
goes way back. So something like this. I don't know if some of you
Yeah.
know this band.
Oh, wow,
So
we know it
I've
very
been
well.
following on these for a while. I have both albums, and that's something I also want to talk about. One of the
Yeah.
early releases, the early like push production to try to get things recorded, improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna listen to the track by When the World Burns, where you contributed with your voice. And it's called A Plague Called Man. And after that, we're gonna talk about what's coming next for Walid in the future.
Cheers.
Okay, here we go. When the World Burns. That was
Assalamu
When the
alaikum.
World Burns. Don't expect me to reply. we're just dealing with the wars and damage and pain, and there's no peace.
No peace, man.
No peace. On my list, there is always more, but this is where I choose to stop for today, part 2. It's been so far 2 hours and 30 minutes. We will close this by talking about what's next for Walid, what's coming in the future. And while we have people listening, I have 2 things to say before we go to that. If you'd like us to have a certain specific guest on one of our Talking Music episodes, please write the name. You can choose to tag the person, but you can write the name, or you can also message us through Facebook as, you know, nice guest you think have a story to tell. They have something to talk about related to metal, but not necessarily just metal. We're also welcoming rock musicians, so not just the heavy stuff, the light stuff is welcome. That's 1. 2, we will probably have a guest next Tuesday. I will confirm that and announce it on Saturday. It's someone with a very, very long history also in the Middle East with music and recorded albums. Hopefully we'll announce that on Saturday, so stay tuned. For now, Walid, what's next?
What's next is a sound I've been chasing for a while. A very long time. While talking actually yesterday to Carl, we talked about a very interesting point, which is finding your sound.
Mm-hmm.
Finding your sound and finding who you are and the best way to express it. And I felt I had that with KAOTEON in up until Veni Vidi Vomui as a vocalist. I had that in Barren, in Damnatio Memoria, but after that I felt that I want something different and I want something more maybe in touch with different sides of who I am. A mean of expression that can really be more about who I am, where I come from, why, all of those reasons. Back in around 2007,
Mm-hmm.
we had a few bands that were invited to come and join us and play at Cherries, Basim, and in one occasion also at Nova. Fuck the enemy. I'm Team Cherries. So we invited 2 bands from Jordan to come and join us. One of them was called Tyrant Throne, and the other one was called Bilocate.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Tyrant Throne, so Bilocate came to Lebanon because along with Tyrant Throne, the first comer, came Rami Haikal, the guitarist of Bilocate, as a guest. And the guys of Tyrant Throne and KAOTEON, we formed such a damn great bond, man. We had so much fun. We had a massive blast. They came for a quick 2 days, I think, but we had so much fun and we were so aligned in every way. And then Bilocate came as well, and I think they played with Chimera, if I'm not mistaken, and KAOTEON.
Yes, and I'll start streaming again. And I'm back, so I'll keep going with that. Okay.
Cool.
We should be back. We probably are back. Let's see. Okay. So, we needed 4 more minutes, 3 more minutes to wrap it up. So, sorry for the disconnecting, coming back. Let's wrap it up. Yes, Walid. Bilocate.
So, yeah, Bilocate. That was a blast. Connected really well with Rami. And the years passed, years and years. I quit KAOTEON. Been trying to chase that sound again. In the meantime, Rami and his wife, they migrated to Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And we kept talking about doing some music together.
So you're neighbors now, more or less.
Yeah. At least same continent. So I think the first thing that we did is Rami was working on a jam at home COVID cover format. So he wanted to do a Megadeth track together. We collaborated with Ziad Alam, and then we made a Megadeth cover together. But that, of course, was far from satisfactory because it was just a cover and we didn't reinvent the cover or do anything. It was supposed to be just a quick, fun Corona times jam. One day, Rami sent me a riff and he's like, do you think you can do something with this? So I got into my recording room and I kept trying to think of what would work best. I had no lyrics, of course, I had nothing. I just had a riff of, let's say, 30 seconds. And I had to figure out if it would work for both of us or not. So I tried a million formats, I think. At a point, I found myself reading Irish war poems over the riff, trying to see whatever could work. Went to the Bible and anything you can imagine. I've tried reciting that over the riff and it just didn't sit well together. At a point, I thought, well, let me try something in Arabic. So I put a couple of lines together, just something quick. Just trying to see if something would work actually on top of that. And it just felt right. It felt correct. So that riff turned into a whole track, a complete song. And we had a song that we can develop and we can work on and we can try to basically find our organic sound together. So we started experimenting, and what I like quite a lot is that I feel whatever I do, regardless of how strange it is, and I am capable of doing a lot of strange things, it's kind of, it feels natural, organic, and it also is supported, which is very important to me. So it's appreciated, it's welcome. The weirder, the better in the Rami's dictionary, which I love. And I very much absolutely love the songs we have together so far. It's, yeah, it feels very, very special to me. And I've sent a couple of drafts to a couple of people to get their feedback on just a basic naked skeleton. And the feedback was very positive. So we want to try to focus, hopefully, on growing in the Netherlands. So trying to find other musicians here because it would make life far easier.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, so we just started with that process now, trying to find a bass player and a drummer here. But we need to find people who also appreciate the same style, which we do.
That's what I want to say. So in Netherlands, there are a lot of metalheads, but to be really honest, I'm not sure how many people as musicians are into the extreme side of it.
If it's technical extreme, a lot. The Netherlands has really some of the best technical bass players ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Jeroen, which is one of the best bass players ever, the original Obscura bassist. He's Dutch. But that's not what I like. I think you said it earlier that progressive is now really very much sleeping in the same bed with death metal.
Yeah.
And I don't like progressive death metal. So when people talk to me about, what is it called? The German legendary progressive death metal band. Vocalist, guitarist is called Mohammed.
I'm not going to be able to come up with the names now.
Okay.
But we will definitely get the answers in the chat. So describe it again, the German band.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic progressive death metal bands. It's completely forgot it now.
Yeah.
But I don't like that. I don't like it. Give me good old death metal or give me the band Death itself. I love as a progressive thing. But this is because it has so much feelings. It looks to me like Patrick answered us.
Yeah, necrophagist.
Necrophagist. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't click. I need more feelings in my music.
Yeah.
Basically. So in the Netherlands, for me, it's always been difficult to find musicians who, for example, want black metal. Because my heart will always be in black metal. The East German in the chat writes it with capital letters, with a lot of anger. A lot of anger, Carl.
Very loud.
Yeah. So my heart will always be in black metal. Sometimes I like my black metal slow, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it has to be 1994 production, but that's what I want. And I haven't been able to connect with a lot of Dutch black metal fans.
I need to find maybe a Discord server for it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dutch black metal. Yeah, it's actually not so common, right, to find Dutch black metal.
There's a few.
Maybe also someone could write in the chat, or everyone could write in the chat. If you hear the word Netherlands and metal together, what styles would that be?
I will start.
But then, if we're doing that, we have to ask the same question. What would it be if you say Middle East and metal?
Not the stuff that I like.
Okay. So mostly cover bands of Metallica.
No, I meant the whole Mirath kind of a vibe. With all due respect to the band and their talent.
Yeah.
But I am not a fan of Hishik Bishik, belly dancer.
Yeah.
Arabic music in any way, shape, or form. I also do not enjoy, for example, Sabah.
Mm-hmm.
What I worship.
That's a sin. You will get the Damnatio Memori from it.
Probably. But I can't. I love Fairuz, and I will be broken into a million pieces when Fairuz passes away.
Yeah.
But I don't enjoy. I need a bit of melancholy in my music, and Fairuz has a shit ton of melancholia. To me, Sabah is about eating tabbouleh salad with, lettuce and tomato between your teeth.
So again, we started there, right? The association ruins it. Like, association is waking up in the morning, taking the bus to school. That's Sabah.
It is. Yes.
So the association
and Bassem
ruins
has a point.
it. Yeah.
Bassem just wrote he feels personally attacked. And to be honest, yes, I love it far more when they're doing their thrash than when when Bassem's hips, I never thought that they would come and I would see Bassem's hip shake and wave. It's not something I wanted to see him do. And I didn't ask for that, but I got to see it.
I see. So you have your own taste, your things that you appreciate more than other things. And if you're going to make your own music, you want it to, to follow that kind of field, to follow what you enjoy. And definitely after what you explained with KAOTEON, you don't want to feel that you're forced to do something that you have to, put more pressure on yourself to get it done. You want to just go for it and, be driven to do it. So you already described how things could work, and you have some material, and you're gonna find the musicians needed, and that should result in an album. That is the plan. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have sort of a timeline for it? Before the book, after the book?
No, I think before the book. The book is a bit more work than that.
Yeah.
before the book. And also it's really good to maintain momentum because we're moving and we're composing more tracks. So I want to keep the pace. I don't want to take a step back or to slow down in doing it. And it's been bringing us a lot of pleasure. We've been doing really experimenting and figuring out more about what we can do. I mean, now I have a MIDI keyboard. During KAOTEON days, I would have never imagined having a MIDI keyboard and trying to do things and layers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the medium. Mm-hmm. But I also kind of always wanted. So with KAOTEON, I tried to do any intros or outros for stage performance, for example. I would mix some kind of noise and tracks and stuff like that, overlayer it, and make it into a track. One of them, if we are not out of time, we can play during the show. It's something that we played before the last KAOTEON in Lebanon concert happened. And it was very emotional. I was through that track. I and a few other people that I saw looking at me eye to eye were making an effort not to cry. Mm-hmm. And I like doing this, mixing noise with a lot of feelings hidden somewhere. They just pop up between the noise, which is probably someone is going to slam me now with a bit of progressive death metal saying it's the same idea. It's noise with a lot of feelings inside. You have to search for it. Couldn't find it.
Yeah, well, progressive, anything that's different from what was established can be considered a progressive thing. You're moving forward, you're doing something else. And even if many bands have mixed different things together, there's always a way to mix it differently and mix it in a fresh way and add elements. So it depends on the person always and his own influences and what he enjoys and how much he insists on getting things together that maybe sometimes shouldn't be.
Absolutely, but that's the thing. I didn't want to change KAOTEON into where I want to go.
Yeah.
KAOTEON was doing okay. Yeah.
I have one more thing that I've never tried before, but I wanted to try today. And this is going to be for the next 2 minutes to close. This is our closing questions. And for the people listening, we have with us 18 people listening. So we've had kind of a steady listeners today. Quite nice. Thank you all for tagging along for this talk. As usual, it's not short. If you prefer it to be short, you can let us know. And I'll close this with 3 questions, not coming from me, and not necessarily useful questions. People who are listening to us, write the most strange, unexpected, unnecessary question you have for Walid, and I'll ask it.
I unfortunately ran out of Araq.
So let's see what we get. The first questions is gonna be directly asked, so we'll give the chance for really random questions here. And we'll see. So far, we have a lot of comments about Poop Nation. I guess that describes who we are and what we do.
Poop Nation is Fuad, Abed, and I. We have a WhatsApp group where the boys text each other when they're sitting at a toilet seat to say, pooping.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Natalie is asking why Kusa?
Why choose to live? If not Kusa, why choose to wake up every single day, put your socks on and pretend to be a civilized adult behind a camera and sending emails that start, I hope my email finds you well, while in reality, I would have pulled my hair if I had any left. I don't have any nails. Kusa is love, man. Come on. It's Kusa.
Ihab is worried about your hygiene. Do you use shampoo?
Look, I'm bald. I wash everything there is with a soap bar. It's the most beautiful act ever. To be honest, it's like going to the spa, having a nice, good smelling soap bar. And recently, I've also become fond again of homemade Arabic olive soap bars. You know those ones that if they fall on your toe, they could break it? That's not how I broke my toe previously, by the way. But those 2 kilos soap bars, sabun ghar,
Yeah, they
sabun,
were never
yeah.
able to cut them smaller. Like if it's
No.
traditional, it has to be 1 kilogram, one piece.
But it's unbelievably thick. I mean, they probably got tired and they went, fuck it, you know? Inshallah, I will cut it. Inshallah, not.
You know, I never thought about it that someone who's bald never really needs to buy shampoo.
No. And it's literally like going to the spa because it's amazing. And you can really, with a soap bar, you can finish in 20 seconds if you want. She said that. Without a soap bar, with a soap bar, you can also take 2 hours. It's completely up to you.
Okay. So I guess we got through the random questions. Those were the 3 random questions. I have nothing to add.
I have a question
ahead.
to John B, actually, John Bachos in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, are you going to be on a Lab Metal interview sometime soon talking about aneurysm and Gothmog and Ordum and all that jazz?
He's definitely welcome if he'd like to. Okay, so we'll get the answers. Meanwhile, come on, if they want me, we sure want anyone who has produced, recorded, and released anything is always welcome to be one of our guests. We usually go and contact everyone, but we would also, let's say, feel free to contact us. We are open to have you as guests. Okay? Maybe we'll message a bit later on Facebook. I'll talk to John. Walid, we're at the end of this. What do you want to close with?
It's what you're doing is really beautiful. That's something I have to say. I was talking earlier while you're playing music to Renoir on WhatsApp, and also I think to a lot of other friends that tuned in the earlier episode. What you're doing makes distances far shorter. All of these, beautiful people that I love so much, and all of these memories, it feels like there yesterday, sitting together in Kalinka, in Nova, in Cherries, in Rockster, and whatever other place we went to, or just sitting by the streets somewhere and drinking Fax or FS beer on Marina and talking for hours about what back then wasn't memories, but what just happened a few days ago, is something that we all miss so dearly. And it's really important to remain an accidental adult, in my opinion. To play and to laugh and to think and to look back at certain memories. What I mean by think, look back at certain memories and talk about them and connect and share and find a moment to take a break from the mundane and have an opportunity like this one. And just sit there and take a break from all the shit and all the horrible. I think, to be honest, we've been talking for 3 hours and a half, maybe?
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours? It's been almost 3 hours that I haven't looked on social media and came across things that, reality. And I hope the same also for everybody else. It's been a good break from a lot of fucking noise. And on top of that, not just any break, it's been a very beautiful opportunity to connect again with so many people, regardless of the distance. So really, thank you for everyone that watched the first episode, watched the YouTube recording. Thank you, everyone here tonight. Thank you for you and Rami, of course, and for Patrick as well for constantly organizing this. So as I was saying, I know what it means to try to run something like this and maintain it and keep the energy going. And you guys have been doing it for a very fucking long time. So lots of respect for you for doing that. So I was just closing by saying, thank you, Rami. Thank you, Patrick, for, keep fighting, keeping the fight for this. You've been pushing it for a very long time. It takes a lot of effort, and you're just doing it because you love music so much and you love your music scene. and you love the people that you want to connect with. So on behalf of everyone, thank you, sir.
That's all true. Thank you very much, Walid. From my side, I would say we see that many of our musicians are moving abroad. And although we can't go to the same pub and all enjoy a gig as we all used to do, at least this is keeping us all in contact. This is like bringing us together to listen to some music. And what better music than the ones that we produce and release? Maybe later on we'll have some of those whatever listening sessions or recommendation sessions and discussion sessions. But I'm happy that we're trying to follow up with everyone's music. I'm trying to shed a light on what they make, what music they make. And we can hopefully keep people in touch and motivate them to keep going and make some more nice music. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for following up. Sorry for the misbehavior of my PC. I'll try to spank it as some have suggested. And hope to see you again on next week on Tuesday. We will announce it on Saturday who's going to be our next guest. Thank you all for listening. Ciao. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.